You're watching World Insight. I'm Tian Wei. China and African nations are longtime partners. That friendship is not only reflected during the sunny days, but also at turbulent times. For example, the fight against COVID-19. China, represented by the Chinese President Xi Jinping at the just concluded World Health Assembly, have pledged to support both African nations, their economies, and also supporting some African hospitals. Meanwhile, we see the youth exchanges between the two sides are becoming ever more vibrant. It is not just help coming from one side toward the other, but rather mutual support. That is reflected by a group of young African volunteers working to help their friends and also their acquaintances when China was experiencing COVID-19 outbreaks earlier. I met some of these African volunteers in China during an early spring talk in Beijing. Fresh air in the fresh garden in a beautiful friendship. Some of you are students, some of you already work in China, and some of you have been living in China for a long time.
Yeah.
There's so many different backgrounds you are coming from. You're all working for everybody else during the pandemic. You volunteered.
Yes.
Tell me about your experience.
I was supposed to go to a show in Yulin with my friend, and then the show was cancelled because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so he offered for me to volunteer at the train station.
Yeah, but I want to say something here. Muya is a rap musician, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, but later you devote your voice and your rhythm to helping others.
Yes, because it was a new setup because of the pandemic. You tell them where to go to get tested for the temperature, and to give them new masks as well.
And do they listen to your advice?
Oh yes, they do.
You say it in English or in Chinese or in rap music? That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. So you are also volunteering.
Yes, so I volunteered as a doctor at the Wenzhou-Nan Expressway in Wenzhou. Yeah, so basically our job was to take temperatures, and I think like everybody else, we have the same story that we were wearing protective gears, and then but people would actually see that we are foreigners, and when they would lower their window, they would be like, oh, she's not Chinese, you know. And then but the questions that will follow through, they will be like, oh, okay, I'm comfortable with her. Yeah. But we really had to go very quickly, I think, because per day we had around 6,000 cars to check.
Oh my God.
And at the beginning, Wenzhou was not on a lockdown, so everybody could come in and leave, so we were very busy.
So it's like a drive-in test.
Yeah. It was like a drive-in, but it was like the expressway, the toll gates. But after lockdown was initiated in Wenzhou, then it was very relaxed and everything, although we were on higher alert.
Really medical professional, but on the streets, you know, trying to direct the traffic and tell people what to do. It's a very different job, right?
I think for me, in the beginning, it took me a long time to get in that role, but I think I had good role models there. I always say, whenever someone asks me, like, how did you integrate so well? I told them that the nurses, the doctors, the policemen, even the normal people, you know, like the normal running who were working there, I never felt the difference. And at the end, when I left there, I think I had family. It was not even friends or colleagues. It was family. It was just purely family.
Absolutely, particularly at the difficult times.
Yeah.
The friendship really bound.
Oh,
right?
I swear. And there were so many little things that these people would do, you know. For example, I'm Muslim, so I would not eat pork, or I would not eat like especially food-wise, they would be really so cautious. Oh, please don't give her that. She doesn't eat that. Or, oh, are you tired? Maybe you can take a break and we'll take over. You know, there's little things that really made me feel like I'm part of a family.
It's also because you have yourself a tender heart. When people do that, you will feel it. And you have the same warmth for them too.
Yeah,
so I guess that's how it works.
Thank you.
And what about for you, Eric?
Okay, I'm also a volunteer. In the early stages, I was actually volunteering at the railway station, just like Muya. And we then stopped.
Do you do rap too?
No, I
like
don't do rap.
No, okay.
Because it was the how do you call it, the Spring Festival, right? So a lot of people were going back to their home cities. So we were helping them to lift up their baggages and stuff. And on 21st of January, we were then asked to stop because we were asked to go back for quarantine in the lockdown. And then the medium stage, that's when I started helping out, like trying to develop awareness to students, raising awareness. I wrote articles, like 4 articles, and also I wrote a letter to the police and the doctors, nurses, appreciating their efforts. In the medium stage,
try to encourage the morale in a way. Huh?
Yes. So even now in our school, we also composed a song. Although I'm not a singer, I just managed to organize several students. We composed a very, very nice song by the name We Are Together, showing our love for those who are working in the front line of the battle against the COVID-19.
Ich weiß, gerade sind harte Zeiten, aber wir stehen das gemeinsam durch. Und gemeinsam feiern wir, wenn das alles vorbei ist.
You wrote the song?
I was just a director.
Oh, you were the director?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just
That's
from you.
That's an interesting job.
I was
Okay.
just a director, so I directed the song and it was very nice.
Hey, how are you? I know this day's been so hard. You worry about those overwhelmed heart. Hey, tovali nayo, ozali yo mon côté. Quand il plaît, toi et cherche la
Take a breath, rest your heart true. Take my hand, we'll just be beside me.
So actually this period of pandemic has brought to you a totally different experience in a way, right?
Yes.
Something very different from your earlier part of life when you were in China, right?
Yes.
It's a very different way of looking at the Chinese and the Chinese society, and maybe also yourself,
Yes.
how you function during a very special period of time.
Yes, yes, indeed.
What about for you, Maria? You've been here in China for a long time,
Yes.
16 years I heard.
Yes.
What does this mean, this period of time?
Actually, because of my past experience with 2008 being a voluntary somebody in the disaster.
Wenchuan earthquake.
Yes, Wenchuan earthquake. So I have some experience, my own technique I used to bring people together and to calm them down.
What are the techniques? We want to learn.
So a lot of people that think that they left out, or they are alone, they are in their house, they cannot see people like they used to see on the TV, because they used to see me on the TV. So they saw me like being like somebody voluntary down, checking their temperature, bringing their food to their door, and sing for them. When I arrive in their door, I will stand there and sing for them. Wow. There is an English song that says, "This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands."
Ah, okay.
This is the way we wash our hands when you come outside. This is the way we daiko chow, daiko chow, daiko chow.
You want to use your advantage as a celebrity,
Yeah.
particularly as a foreigner in China, to make sure the locals also bear in mind some of the most important principles.
Yes.
Do you think that's successful practice?
Yes, it's a good one, because I try to bring different embassies too, ambassador's wife, because I am inside the Commonwealth Association. Immediately this happened, they know I am voluntary down in my area, so they ask me, what are we going to do, because you know how to arrange everything. I said, first, I'm going to write a song, and we're going to do this song, and we're going to donate money to Wuhan Hospital. Yeah. I've designed a music, then I told all the ambassadors' wives, there are different countries, some of them are different countries, then I told them that we need to use African kids, writing to all the kids in China, or the old people, Chayo Tungo, you can do it. So different schools from different countries write and send their pictures and videos.
Wonderful.
So I edit those videos and put it together, and we donate like 200,000 to the Wuhan and hospital, all the ambassadors' wives. So yeah, and the song together packed, and we just show it on the I think it's China. I don't know if it's China Association or something like that. I took all the ambassadors' wives. They were scared to go out. I said, we have to do it. We went and give those love, and people saw it. And they think they are not left out, even they are at home. They saw the videos, they saw the people downstairs helping them. So they think, this is a family job, we need each other.
We always feel when we were quarantined, lonely and alone. But actually, once we extend our hand to the others really feel the warmth.
Out.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly that critical moment. What about for you, Brett?
Yes, for me, being a doctor, you also want the best care for patients and you want things to go smoothly. But due to the sensitive nature of the virus, and because we don't know anything about it, it's a novel coronavirus, we don't know anything about it, we had to learn and also teach at the same time. So I was involved in my community at Wenzhou Medical University, the Chashan campus, and I was in charge of all the voluntary moments and capacity in that area. So that is involved of the daily temperature checking, the distribution of masks and PPE to our doctors on site, and we also treat any low-level cases that do not need to go to the hospital, so they might not go to a very infected area. So that they can stay within our area. We will have equipment and certain materials delivered to us, and we will help them.
So you know how to say everything in Chinese for your area, right?
Yes,
yes,
that's correct. Yes, I've been in China for 9 years now, so I love also the language and the culture. So speaking Chinese becomes a second nature because we are in the environment.
Yes,
so if I believe you cannot thrive in the environment if you do not absorb what is around you.
So how about the kids when they were listening to your Chinese and they were looking at this quite handsome doctor, even with the masks?
Yes.
How did they react?
It's not easy for them. It's really not easy because they're very scared. Usually when we treat the pediatric patients, we will hold them. We'll carry them. Sometimes I'll carry them on my back or something and play with them. But you cannot do that because we can't have physical contact.
So how do you do that?
Everything is by speech. Everything is by speech or by song or by mime. Something to do to just uplift them.
What is the most magical way? I'm sure you have it.
Yes.
You just don't want to share with us yet.
Actually, sometimes when you make a funny face or you open up your eyes or do something very funny for the kids, they'll start laughing. And then once you just open that door, the rest is much easier for you to do the rest of the test. So yes, I think it's really important. We've learnt a lot. All of us being students and workers in China, when you asked the question before of, has things changed? For me, it didn't change. It was just showing how great our system was in the beginning. Because I believe the way we handled the situation, especially in my city, I can speak about my city because we saw everything firsthand. And the way the people obey when we've given a rule is very important because this is a global issue, and if we do not obey the leader's advice, then it will all descend to chaos.
How is this pandemic changing you? I mean, I feel this has changed me at least a little bit.
I feel closer to China. In the beginning, I used to say, China is my home, China is my second home. I always used to say that. But after the pandemic, I think I really just feel like this is my place, this is my home. I feel closer to the people. Like, I think we went through such a chaotic situation together. And when you go through that proportion of thing, I mean, automatically we all bond. Everybody will agree. You bond. I mean, the Sichuan earthquake for you, I mean, I think that was your first experience. And I think you automatically bond with the people. And when you come out of it, you really feel like you are just one, right? I mean, that's how I felt.
Exactly. Brett?
Yes, for me, I think how this whole pandemic has changed me, number one is gratitude. And I think a lot of people take things for granted, take things that, like today's beautiful weather or seeing these wonderful volunteers today. It's about appreciating the small moments in life that you have. And sometimes because of the fast-paced, express way of life that we live these days, we don't have that time to, press the brakes and introspect and say, wow, I'm really grateful that I've been through this and I'm still alive, I'm still healthy, and I can still help my people more. I have been here and I've seen how wonderful the Chinese people have really, expressed love for one another and love for even us. We're not Chinese, but it's like we're adopted Chinese.
I know, that's a good one.
And I think it's so important for people around the world to know that don't point fingers at other people when you don't know the real situation. Maybe you've never even traveled to China before, and you're saying all of these harsh things. We've seen a lot of harsh news about a lot of people pointing a lot of fingers, and I think, as my colleagues have said, dissemination of true facts is so important, and being able to check, recheck, and even recheck again the facts before posting is so important. When we hear something, do we actually check, is it true or is it not? And if it's not, why am I saying it now? And so I think that's really important. So being grateful for where you are, and being able to also share and collaborate with others.
Yes.
And because when we share information, we grow, we increase, we move together towards a better future for everyone. We've been a part of people who are making a solution, who are making innovative ideas to deal with new problems that have come up in this whole pandemic. You know, there's new industries that have been born, like online learning, like food delivery, that maybe China has been doing but other countries have not been doing. So we are kind of transporting the same model with our own characteristics and our own thinking, and helping our families and our loved ones at home as well.
Beautifully said. Maria, what about for you? What have you learned?
Just like the first time I told you, the earthquake in Sichuan. I think Chinese people, I always say, when they ask me, anytime they interview me, what do you think? I say, Chinese people, their hearts are just one. All of this. Chinese are many. Why you said one? I said, yes, because they came together.
United.
And unite together and fight the disease together. So they kill it together. They don't say, because I'm from here, I'm from here. Even your foreigner in China that time, they all come together. They make sure this finished. So I just think this virus makes to think that we are one. We should think about each other. We should stop saying this is this, this is that. We should just think the world is one. We just have a short time to live and enjoy it and make good use of it and live as a family.
I don't know about you, but I really feel out of these few months, I just don't want to waste a second. Right?
Take every opportunity.
Don't take away my precious time. I want to be with the right people, talking about the interesting things and enjoy life.
And do you know what, Wei, actually, like when I was seeing Dr. Sumaya's work, I was also inspired, and also seeing all of my other colleagues, because doing content for social media is not easy.
Oh my God.
It's not easy, because we're just volunteers and doctors, but then now also we've been all asked by our national governments to also help to transmit our own stories. And now we had to learn how to be a vlogger.
Oh my God,
how to take videos.
That was the hardest.
How to do, it's not easy at all. It's really not easy. So we learned new skills.
I'm glad that you know a little bit more about the difficulties we are facing every day.
I never knew my phone
That's what I wanted to mention, you know. I was like,
empathy is another thing.
Being able to connect with people, like,
together.
you know, how can you really connect with them? What can you share?
You know, I just enjoy talking to you guys, so much laughter. But, you know, at the back of our mind, all of us, we know it's not the end. Actually, we're still in the very middle of it. It is going to African continent. The number is rising. So how can we help? We don't want to leave our brothers and sisters back on the continent, you know, suffering from the pandemic. We hope it can be controlled. So how can we help?
I think this is a teamwork, just like we work in China as a team. It doesn't relax just the government to do everything. You too have to work with the government.
That's a really important point.
You have to work with the government. The government are we are the government. So you have to come together as a team. Listen to the real media news as they told you to do. Especially the lockdown is very important. Maybe that's 1-2 weeks is very, very important, because it's a airborne. You just, anywhere you find people are together. And Africa, we are too close, like the markets, the hospitals, many people. As long as you work to the rules and regulation, then you will kill the sick. You will take it out of your continent.
Is the China experience going to be of some help?
Yes, I think so, because if you look at the model that we've created already.
What is it?
Our model already, for example, in our city of Wenzhou, city of 10 million people, already there are no cases again. 0 cases. And if we look at this, in China, it's not a relatively large city, but if you compare it to an African city, it's much bigger than most of the capitals of most countries. So we need to look at how we can effectively transplant that same model into our countries in Africa. And why should we do that? The first thing is we understand that the different infrastructure and the economic stability of African nations and maybe our cities are not the same. So there must be a dedicated approach to deal with this. So it's not going to be copy and paste. It's not going to be copy and paste. It's going to be a sensitive approach, but most of the basics, as what Maria has explained, should be same for everyone. And again, obedience. If we are obedient, you will eat
obedient to the right advice.
Obedient. You have to be obedient to the right advice, that's correct. And if the government is getting the correct advice, which they are, then it's also an opportunity for the governments as well to show their governance, to show their diplomacy in helping their people, and with also using our models. So as we said before, if we have the scientific data, if we have the research behind it, if we have all of these teams working together and collaborating together and sharing more information together, then we will definitely have the victory.
What about the other doctor? Okay, Eric. Eric, go ahead.
Okay. So I was saying, like, I'm agreeing with what Maria and Brett were saying. And to add on top, I think the most fundamental thing that has to happen to be precise, in Africa is much awareness has to be raised. You know, it's not everyone who is going to have that opportunity to browse from the official data sources. The internet. It's not everyone who has that opportunity to access the internet. So what should happen now is, like, besides the government, we as the people in the community, we have a role to play, right? Let's disseminate the information that we are getting from official sources to everyone. People might be there on those platforms like WhatsApp. If you have groups, share the information there so that they can at least get it. I can give an example here. We have some flowers over here. If it was only one flower, maybe it's difficult for us to see there is such kind of nice vegetation, right? But you put a lot of them, now it will be attracting. So someone might ignore information posted by one person, but if you see it's flooding the whole social media platform, you're gonna follow it.
One flower is not the spring. But when we have a lot of flowers, people know the spring has come and they know what spring is about.
You are a writer. You are a writer. Okay, you're a writer.
What about for you, Svaya?
We need to sensitize the people before.
I think this one should be people to people now.
People to people,
Because if I saw you don't put on your mask, you're coughing like this, I'll tell you, come on, don't cough close to me.
Exactly. We remind each other, right?
Remind each other. Very important. I told them, I think that we cannot do anything alone. In this pandemic, I saw something said that together, it's the first time in history that together we fall. Something like, now we need to stand alone, but I think it's still not true. It's still something that we need to stick together. Not in the literal sense of the word, but we really need to stick to each other in every other sense of the word, except physically.
So if everyone can get out of the comfort zone, we use our skills, we use our expertise to help in the fight against the COVID-19, I think it will be a guaranteed win.
I want to high five with every one of you. Thank you so much, my
Thank
dear.
you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
I learned so much. And the best wishes to you, your family, and your people back at home.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
谢谢。A wonderful conversation, as you can see. Beautiful group of African volunteers helping their Chinese friends during the fight against COVID-19.